Welcome back to the podcast room. Today we are joined with an awesome guest, R.W. Moody.
Hey, you got it right.
Dude, I'm trying so hard right now. My brain's going, R.W., R.W. I tend to call you Moody a lot. And
which, honestly, I see it as a sign of affection.
it is. That's what it is, right? That's what I meant for it to be this whole time.
Well, I'm feeling the love, man.
Well, hey, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
You kind of out because we were doing a little COGO podcast.
Yeah, we
stuff.
did.
You are, by the way, you're a fantastic interviewer.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate that.
I have no idea what I'm doing here, right? Me, Noah, and others are just having a blast out here, having some fun.
Well, I've watched some of your podcasts, and they turn out pretty good. So
you're one of the three, then. Okay.
Yes.
We always have like three people that watch these podcasts, and Noah's like, that fourth person's probably really mad that you don't acknowledge them. And
maybe sometime you should just say, "Hey, we're up to 5."
We're
They'll
up
be
to
like,
5
"Yes."
now. He's like, I'm included. So you're very insightful in your questions. I thought
Thanks.
that was super cool. You had a lot of intentionality about like really getting to know the person. And speaking of that, I just want to kind of know more about you, right?
Yeah,
like
sure.
we've interacted several times over the years at this point, right? You are very much a vital part of Camp Lebanon summer camps, but you're a huge part of the entire camping ministry in Ohio, right? At the COGO level, you're kind of plugged into everybody. Like you got connections at Payne and Warsaw and Neo and Springfield and yeah. But less of like your role in churches or your role in the state. Like, let us know who you are, like as a person, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, what should I divulge? I'm just kidding.
spill as much tea as you would like.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I'm RW, and I mean, the quick story of my name is I'm named after my dad, and so he got called Bobby as a kid, and he didn't want me called Bobby or Robbie, and so they started calling me RW instead. Yeah. And it's stuck around all my life. Actually, most of my friends call me Dub. Oh. So RW, R-Dub, Dub.
Like a B-Dubs.
Yeah, like B-Dubs, kind of. And so that's kind of been everywhere. So 49 years of my life, not exactly 49, but yeah. Most of my friends have called me that. My wife's name is Joy. Yes. We've been married for 26 years in May.
Oh, man.
I know. I look much younger than that, I'm told.
You look great. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's amazing what
you just got married super young.
That's right. That's right. Right out of college. Yeah. So we've been married 26 years, and she's awesome. She's been a great support for me, my entire ministry. She's very gifted musically. Oh, yeah. And so my mom as a kid, I could remember hearing her voice every time she sang in the choir. And Joy, the first time I heard her sing, I was like,
oh. Pick it out of the
choir. I was like, I got to meet this chick. Hey. And lady. Sorry.
Yeah.
And
she's
so
an awesome chick.
She is. But yeah, we've been married 26 years. The way I knew I loved her was I shared my story with her, my faith, my life story. And she said to me, RW, I forgive you. And there's a lot more to that if you ever want to know. Yeah. But it was really cool to like have her.
Were you in church when you guys met? Like did you grow up in church?
I did. Yeah. Okay, I grew up in a church up in Michigan, and we both are actually from Michigan. Knew lots of the same people. She was involved in the state youth choir in Michigan that practiced in my home church. And so there were times where I would go and see my friends that were in the choir and saw her, but didn't know who she was. She actually has a picture of her at St. Louis camp meeting in Michigan. She's with her cousin, and in the background of this picture is my camper.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, and so I said to her one time, the first time I saw this picture, I was like, do you see that camper right there? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, that's my camper. That's where my mom and dad stayed every camp meeting. Oh my God. And so it was right along like the main path in the camp meeting. So she probably walked by my camper lots of times. And
Dude, but that is a reoccurring like camp story about people meeting. I mean, obviously I hear all the Lebanon ones, but like it is. That's a really cool way.
Yeah. So it took us meeting at Anderson.
Yeah.
We were introduced across the street from Park Place Church of God on the way to church. And then she actually started dating a friend of mine. I was dating somebody else. The summer came, we both broke up. And for some reason, she started praying for me. I don't know why. She doesn't even know why. Like if she were sitting here right here, she'd say, yeah, I just had this inclination to start praying for him. And that
God was like, this dude needs it. He needs a lot of prayer.
I guess, yeah. Maybe that's why she had to forgive me. I don't know. But no, so we got to school that summer because we were both RAs and hung out with each other. And I was like, man, this is girl's pretty cool. And and the rest is history. There's a fire hydrant on the street at Anderson University Boulevard, right by Martin Hall. And this is the pickup line I use for her. Okay, this is not patented, so you can use it.
Steal it. Everybody can steal this.
I said to her, "I'm a good Church of God guy. You're a good Church of God girl. We should go out."
Simple as that.
It was. And hey, the rest is history. 27 years later, we've been together.
I will say my wife is very musically inclined as well. She sings in choir and stuff, and I used a lot of pickup lines on her back in the day. And she grew up a church kid. I did not grow up a church kid. And the first time we sat down and watched the movie Joe Dirt, she went, "These are where these lines are from." I was stealing pickup lines out of Joe. When you're looking at the moon, I'm also looking at that same. And she's like, "You told me. I thought that you made that up." I'm like, "Nah, I just stole it from Joe Dirt."
Hey, whatever works, right?
Yeah. So you guys were kind of up in Michigan. You went to Anderson.
Yep.
So how did you kind of church wise? How did you get connected? Now that you're down in Ohio, like what was your first?
Yeah. So I served in a church out of college in New Albany, Indiana. Oh. And was there for about 6 years, and then moved to Hillside Church of God in Springfield. Yeah. Was there for 3 years, then moved to Texas. Was in Texas for 11, and just about 2017 started feeling like God was getting us ready for something different, and got a call from First Church in Miamisburg. They're looking for a lead, and wasn't really sure what to do with that, but God opened a door, and we came there.
Were you a lead at these other churches, or was Miamisburg the first lead?
Yeah, Miamisburg was the first time I was a lead pastor, which there's lots of cool things that I learned in that time. Yeah. But one thing I learned about myself was I lead better from chair number 2. I lead better supporting the lead guy.
It's lonely at the top up there.
Yeah, dude, there's a lot to be said with that. And
there is. I mean, that's a joke, but like that was our conversation we literally just had with a couple of the pastors that are doing. So we're getting ready to kick off camp meeting. Yeah. And all these pastors are new to their role. Yeah. They're not new to like ministry. Right. Right. But they've been in the role only like a few years. And some of them have came from youth ministry or have came from a different type of ministry. And it's like, this is a different ball game.
It is.
Right? Like
it is. Well, you know that whole phrase of the buck stops there? Yeah. Like, I mean, I knew that. Yeah. From chair number 2 and hearing like what my senior pastors were saying to me, like their experiences, but it's totally different when you're the one in the game. Oh man. And you're calling the shots. Yeah. And
I'm by no means a pastor, right? Like I would never say I would. I mean, I'm out here at the camp, right? But it's the same. It's very lonely at the top, right? Yeah. Sometimes I get in these board meetings and go, "Hey guys, what should we do?" And they're like, "What would you like to do?" I was like, "I don't want to make decisions right now. Right. I want to have conversations, right?" And they're like, "Hey, you need to figure this out." Like, and it is it's a different game. It's a different mindset to have.
It is.
But so I would say you probably got a lot of experience, especially going from state to state. Yep. And you've probably gathered a lot of like great insight and information. I think that really shows in kind of where you're at now. And now you're at, correct me if I'm wrong, Maiden Lane.
Yeah. Right? So I serve at Maiden Lane as the family pastor. Yeah. And then
what is a family pastor role? Because every time I talk to a church, they go, "Yeah, our family pastor does A, B, and C." And then I talk to another church like, "Our family pastor is X, Y, and Z." And I go, is there a job description for family pastors, or are we just throwing this term around
I don't think there is. I think it's like whatever pulls out of the air. I basically oversee next gen stuff. So anything from kids all the way through students and young adults. Yeah. I oversee our teams that lead that. And then, like any other associate, whatever senior pastor says, "Hey, can you go to a hospital? Hey, can you preach?" That kind of thing.
Yeah. No, that's killer. So the next gen that's kind of what you have at like the state level as well.
Correct. Yeah.
Because you are you have a role at the state. Yep. Right. Next gen pastor, is that what that, or next gen youth pastor?
Yep.
Or
next gen pastor.
Next gen pastor. Okay. Yeah. A little bit about what next gen is, because I see it come up on my calendar all the time. Yeah. And as much as I'm involved with students, I'm kind of in the background of stuff, right? Yeah. Like as much as me and Noah and the whole team have to like do the work around here, I don't get to connect with students as much as I would like. Right. So anytime something's going on with students, they're like, "Hey, this is the next gen retreat here." And I think you guys got one.
We do, coming up April 25th and 26th.
Yeah, it's coming up real soon.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So basically I oversee like kids and students on the state level also. Yeah. So whatever we do kids ministry wise, which honestly in the state, because we aren't event driven with that. It's limited.
Yeah.
But if a church calls us up and says, hey, can you send RW to come and do a training with our kids ministry leaders? Esther would say, RW, go here, and I would go.
Yeah.
So I have a team of kids ministry pastors from around the state that help me kind of outline what that looks like. And actually, I've been dreaming a little bit with that lately because, again, we don't do an event.
Yeah.
What would it look like for that team to be more intentional about like training and things
I think
like that?
that would be something like that would be amazing. We talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
About like we get like our volunteers together, and then like people are always doing something like getting all the pastors together, and then we've had like pastors' wives events out here. And I was talking with like Lindsay Piccarelli and like Michael Yost, and I was like, when's the last time you just got a hold of every children's leader in the area and went, let's all have a lunch and just have a conversation to be like, hey, I'm about to do this thing.
Right.
And you're like, and the other person's like, don't do it. I already did it. Here's the better way to do it. Right. Like how do we get these people in the same room to share like insight with one another?
And it's a great question. And honestly, it's really hard. I just came from a student ministry team meeting yesterday, and we asked kind of the same questions. And one of my team members on that team said, are we filling our calendars up too much with everything? And I said to him, I said, dude, I think you're right. I think we are. And one of our other team members had just talked about how they had something last weekend. They have something this weekend. And I'm 49 years old. I have two kids that are old enough to be almost out of the house. Oh, because, they're fixing to get engaged soon.
Yeah.
I think. Yes.
No spoilers.
No spoiler. Can you cut that, Noah? And then we have a 12-year-old daughter. And so, she's home. But, like, I can't imagine my life where I'm every weekend doing something ministry.
Oh.
And I mean, it's just a killer when you do that. I think there's some other people that are around the table that saw that as well. And I think we're in a place in 2025 where we got to kind of ask ourselves what's important. If there's something that is on our ministry calendar that's really not important, we're just filling it to fill like a space.
You're like, hey, this whole month we don't have an event, let's plan one. And you're like, we don't need it.
Right,
like,
exactly.
It's okay.
Yeah. And that's the point that my team member had was, it's okay that we just have a rest, that we just don't do nothing, and emphasize the importance of rest instead of busyness. So my wife says all the time, when the pandemic hit, that we kind of had the opportunity to reset, but we reset for like 6 months or a year. And then when it was officially over, we're like, okay, let's go. And so we're all back
everybody's
at the races.
raring and ready to go.
Right.
And now you're just packing it out.
Right.
I mean, it's the same out here. Like I'm in a unique position because I live where I work. Yeah. But there's something going on every weekend here.
Right.
And it's like, yes, I want to connect with these churches, and yes, I want to be a part of their stuff. And we're running archery and zip line and pedal boats, kayaks and paintball, and I'm with the students and hanging out and meeting students from all over. But I'm like, and then I got 3 kids at home, 11, 6, and 1. Like, are we going to hang out? And I'm like, I can't this weekend, and I probably can't next. Like, and it's just rough. Like,
well, and that means for you as well as for us, the intentionality of carving in that family time.
Yeah.
I remember somebody told me a long time ago, and it's always stuck with me, that like our families are the most important ministry we have. Yeah. And you know this. I mean, I know you're not a pastor.
Yeah.
But
so far from that.
Your
I'm just kidding.
Come on, Alex. But I mean, your kids live in the fishbowl just like a PK.
Yeah.
And so like we have to be mindful of that and make sure that we carve out that time for our kids.
Oh yeah.
Before we jumped on this recording during the COGO podcast, my son was texting me pictures of the ring that he got for his girlfriend or fiance whenever this drops. I don't know.
We'll wait till the engagement drops so we don't have any spoilers.
But I mean, my point is we've got to make sure that we carve that out. So like, it's important that we do that.
Yeah.
I tell our team all the time, if you're not spending time with your family, that's a problem.
That's a problem. Yeah. And I think you have this very unique position to have that mindset and then to be able to lead these people in this next gen kind of leadership group of people. And I think you have a really unique position to know the need around the entire state, right? When you can get connected with some of these churches and know like, hey, church A is struggling, church B is struggling, and the two struggles I see here just happened with church C and church D.
Right.
And that's kind of this is how they overcame it. And I feel like you have this like perfect, I don't know, perfect tornado to just reach out to everywhere. I don't know if that's the right word. I don't know what I'm trying to think of here, but you have this like circle of like, yes, you can kind of pour into these leadership's lives.
Yeah. I count the role that I have with COGO as a great privilege. I'll never forget when Esther sent me the job description to ask me to look over it. I looked at it and I gave it to Joy, that's my wife, and I said, "What do you think of this?" And had told her that Esther had called, and she's like, "RW, this is you." Yeah. And like, I love being able to sit across the table from like pastors, youth pastors, and say, "What's going on? Yeah. How's your family?
How can I help?
How are you?" Because to me, that's where the rubber meets the road. I had a leader from a church in the state a couple years ago come up to me at a state youth convention, and he says to me this, he said, "You don't know who I am, and I don't know who you are, but I feel like God's got something for me to say to you." And I was like, oh what?
Oh, gosh.
Because, when somebody you don't know comes up to you. That can be touchy. It can be.
Yeah.
But he said to me this, he said, "I feel like God's telling me to tell you to lean into being the leader of leaders." Oh. And I have taken that to heart. Yeah. And I feel like God's put me in this place to be able to like go to churches, go to a restaurant, go to wherever and meet our leaders and just say, "How are you?"
Meet them where they are.
Yeah.
And I think that sums up your role completely, a leader of leaders. And I think you do a fantastic job. From an outside perspective looking in, right? I'm not.
You're not a fly in my car.
Right.
I'm driving.
I'm not sucking up to you because I'm a leader. Like we don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm not like, he's great because he's helped me. No, like I'm just on the outside looking in, and I see the way people talk about you, good and bad. No, I'm just kidding. I see the way people talk about you and go, yeah, like he's a very knowledgeable, insightful person when it comes to these things. And I see your connections more at Springfield because I'm more connected with Springfield than some of the other camps. But like I see your connections at like Springfield and even these other camps. When we'll be mid-conversation with Neo, and then somehow, like, your name's in the mix. Because I'm like, well, Moody said, and it's like, okay, well, like, I don't even know where that came from. It just, we've had it in such this, like, perfect, I keep saying it's tornado. I know you're not a tornado.
Maybe it's because it's almost tornado season.
I don't know. It's nasty outside, so it's just windy. But, like, you are that, like, perfect center to kind of figure this out for everybody kind of around you. So when it goes into, like, next-gen leadership, right? If there are people, right? We always have the same joke, like there's 4 people listening to this. If one of those, now there's 5, we'll get one extra. If one of these people that are listening to this go, man, I really want to know, like, within Church of God, like, how do I move up? How do I not just be a helper to a youth pastor, but how do I move into that next role? Maybe they don't go to college at Anderson or Warner or something like that, but they want to know, like, hey, like, who can I talk to and where can I go to kind of figure out how to fulfill this need that's out there? Yeah. Because one of the biggest needs we see all the time right now is children's leaders and student leaders. Yeah. And you probably know this way more than I do. Yeah. But just the churches I work with, we had one of the churches from our Southwest district out here, and their head pastor ran the whole weekend because they were without a youth pastor right now. Yeah. He had a blast, don't get me wrong, because it's a different mentality to do it, and he was having such a good time. But that whole weekend, they were like, we got to find somebody. Like, we know there's people around. So it's like, how do we get those people that have this passion on the track to be the person that these churches are searching for?
Yeah, I mean, the pipeline is very thin. Luckily, we've got a good generation of young people who feel like God's calling them into that ministry, and so they're taking some steps. Yeah. 3SLI is a great opportunity for students to understand like what their leadership abilities are, and so during those 3 years, they're growing, learning. Intern Academy is another good opportunity. Okay. I kind of deals with more like college students who are looking for an internship, so they feel the call to ministry. They get them connected with churches to either do like a summer internship, sometimes a year.
Like interning with a pastor or a youth pastor. Okay, cool. Because like we do interns out here. Yep. But like, we're learning how to fix plumbing and learning how to clean and stuff like that. But I think that's a cool one.
So IA has a whole program that they run through, so that way by the time the student is done with their internship, they've got an idea of what it's like to go on a hospital visit, what it's like to organize a student ministry activity, what it's like to do whatever it is. Yeah. And then there's another organization called Trellis. And Trellis is more of like a learning, so school and experience kind of experiential kind of thing. So they they have hub churches in the country that potential leaders can connect with, and do like longer term experiences. Yeah.
I think those are cool. We'll find the information for those.
Yes.
Noah will work his magic.
I mean,
work it in here somewhere.
L3SLI, you can check it out. Threesley, the word 3 spelled out, SLI.org. For IA, it's internacademy.net.
Okay.
It's a good website. And then Trellis is trellischurches.com.
Yeah.
I mean, great places to look.
I think those are killer because those are the conversations we have. So like out here at the camp, we'll get like, I say college age student, right? I don't really know what college age is. They're out of high school and now they're counseling, right?
Yeah.
And we've had several conversations with these counselors that go, man, camp was always a blast for me as a camper. But as a counselor, they were like, this was the best week of my life.
Yeah.
They're like, I got the chance to pour into these students. And then we watch those college age students and these young adults kind of like, all right, like I love doing this, right? Like, how do I take that next step? And if they're not like, and I'm not dogging on some churches here, but if they're not in a church that's really pushing them forward, they're kind of just like at a standstill.
Right.
And we don't want that to like
Right.
burn out. So it's like just being able to share enough insight to say, hey, get plugged in here or go do this here. I think an internship, like at another church with a pastor or youth pastor, just to learn the background information.
Just to get that hands-on experience. I mean, you know this, when you get somebody out here who's green under their thumb and they just want to get some experience in camping, the best way to do is throw them into the den and give them that experience. It's the same kind of thing.
We were talking with Michael Yost, one of my previous interns.
Yeah.
And you know Michael.
Yep.
And we were kind of just talking about internships in general out here. And he said, one of the best things that I learned out here, I was like, hopefully, I thought he was going to say something I taught him. I was like, hopefully something I taught him.
It was something that Noah taught him.
Something that Noah taught him. It had nothing to do with what we were doing.
Yeah.
It was the fact that he got to be like thrown into the mix with, because he his mom was a pastor, right? He grew up in like one church, right? Like, or not one, he switched churches, but he grew up in like one kind of group of people.
Yeah.
Right. And then he comes out here and then he has a week of Baptists and then he has a week of Pentecostals and he has a week of Church of Christ, right? And they're no musical instruments, singing 4-part harmonies. And he's like, this is a totally different way to worship.
Yeah.
Right. And then we got, the brethren churches that are out here, a lot of these non-denominational churches, and just seeing how everybody prays differently, how everybody worships differently, how everybody fellowships differently, and just being able to, I don't know, expand the worldview within Christianity, right?
Yep.
Where you're just like, whoa, like Church of God is, like, I know I probably shouldn't say this talking to a Church of God state employee, but like Church of God is like is one part of this,
right? And we're a small part,
and it's a small part, right? That's one of the biggest problems we see with like other camps, right? Not to like get on a tangent about camps, but like you're connected with all the camps, is like if a campground thinks that they can grow by just using their district. You can mute your mic right now, Moody.
I know where you're going with this one. Hey.
I'm just saying, like, if they think, hey, our district of Church of Gods are going to keep this camp afloat, like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you can ignore me, but like, it's not going to happen. Like, if I had to rely just on the Southwest District Church of God, I wouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I have to learn how to interact with these other
denominations.
And
it's all about pivoting in leadership and just figuring out, okay, if this isn't working, how do I pivot to make sure that there is some extra income coming in? Where can I be marketable? I mean, like I know here at Camp Lebanon, you guys have all sorts of winter guard people that come here during winter guard competitions in Dayton. I mean, that's a great thing because again, you've opened it up to say, hey, this is what we got available. How can we help you? It's that whole pivot, which is important.
Yeah. I mean, and two, like, I mean, is everything we're doing ministry focused? I hope it is. Is us renting to a color guard so they have somewhere to sleep for a week?
Yeah.
Like, we get to talk with them, we get to interact with them, we get to learn who they are, right? I mean, I've had Ross Band Camp out here, high schoolers, and been able to pray over a meal, right? Before we eat. Like, we cook for them all week, and it's like, hey, can I just pray for the meal real quick? Maybe one kid's listening. Maybe no one's listening. I don't care.
But it's a seed.
It's a seed, right? And then most of these kids that are not even in ministry, their parents know, hey, they're having this event at a Christian camp. Well, I know that's going to be safe, and I know it's going to be, they're going to have a good time. Like everything good's going to happen. Yeah. So I think it is a change, like in mindset of camps. And I didn't mean to get on a tangent about
you're fine.
Camps, and I didn't mean to put you on the spot
you're
there.
Fine.
But
no, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's important for those leaders to think outside the box and how they can pivot. I mean, I've been a part of some conversations with a camp in our state that's asking that very question of how can we change? What do we need to do to be different? What's our purpose got to be? Yeah. And so, that's good to force those conversations sometimes, just so you can make sure that you're being viable, relevant.
You got to be. You have to be relevant, and stick to your core values, right? Just as a church would. You're like, this is what we believe, right? Have your core values and understand that when you're sharing your core values across a denomination, that they're like, we also have those same core values. Yep. We just dress denim to the dirt, and you don't. It's not a big deal. But like, we're all here for the same reasons, right? We talk about denominations like they're school districts, right? Some have dress codes, some don't, right? Funny. But school's there to do the same thing, trying to educate kids. Yep. All these churches, all these denominations are here to do the same thing. We're trying to lead students and adults. We're just more student focused, but lead these students towards the gospel and get them saved and on the right path. Yeah. So I feel like you just have such a unique position.
I appreciate that
within the state, and I think your role is very much growing, and
I enjoy what I do.
Yeah. So. It might take on a bunch now that Esther Demetrius are rolling out.
You never know. I've had so many people say, "Oh,
yeah,"
like, just wait till the next guy, kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I think. Not saying you won't move up, but I think you're in a perfect spot right now.
Thanks.
To kind of minister to these students. I appreciate the information you shared about how to get students plugged in to kind of like the next steps. And I appreciate your information.
And obviously, anybody that's listening to this or watching this today, if they have questions, they can reach out to me, rw@cogo.church.
Don't reach out to me. I don't know any of this stuff.
Or if you reach out to Alex, Alex has all my info. He's got to be my phone number. So you can do that. Seriously, I want to be accessible and used in such a way that I can point people in the right direction.
I think that's amazing. Yeah. I mean, we'll just put it really big right here, right? It just says RW. See, I'm doing really great. I've said RW this whole time.
You are.
I haven't said Moody once.
Maybe one time, but that's okay.
It's whatever.
It's a term of endearment.
Noah's going to have a little counter down at the bottom. How many times?
That'd be so funny.
RW versus Moody. But dude, thank you so much for coming here, letting me know more about who you are. I mean, like I said, we've interacted so many times over the years, and it's just being able to know you on a personal level, right?
My pleasure.
Knowing about your family, knowing about where you've been to kind of get to where you are, because I think people that are out there go, man, I feel like I've been bouncing around churches, and I'm here for 5 or 6 years. I'm here for, where am I leading to, right? And I think they can see you and go, okay, it's going somewhere. Like God's got a plan. Yeah. Right? God's got a plan for this camp. God's got a plan for the state. God's got a plan for Church of God in general.
Yep.
And I think it's on the up and up. I think we're really growing. So anyway, I appreciate your time today.
Thanks, man.
And if you are listening and you have a story to tell or a testimony to share, we would absolutely love to have you out. Till next time, later.